Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the 2013 Craven County Republican Party Convention to order. I would like to also welcome all of you to the convention. Thank you for taking the time this morning to come out and support the Republican Party. I'd like to ask Jerry Shield to lead us in an invocation. Before we do that, if you have a cell phone with you, if you would please cut it off or put it on mute. After the invocation, please remain standing for the pledge of allegiance led by Don Loud.
Good morning. Thank you. Please stand. We'd like to announce that the Christian Coalition's regular meeting is Monday evening at the Golden Corral, and Reverend Mark Craven of the Christian Action League is going to be our speaker. And I'd also like to take a moment to thank our Board of Aldermen and our county commissioners for their position on the marriage amendment last year, and also to encourage them to continue praying in the name of Jesus despite what you was hearing in the media. We do recommend that they adopt a formal policy on Christian prayer. Shall we pray? Father, once again we gather and we humbly ask that you bless this assembly. May your Holy Spirit guide us as we debate the important issues and leadership. May we do so with humility and the wish that those decisions are your will, Father, and not ours. We ask you, Father, for the political will and the moral courage to continue our stand as individuals and collectively as a political party. To stand for the words in the spirit of the Constitution of the United States, which was written with your guidance. To stand for morality, to stand for righteousness, to stand for the family, and to stand for your definition of marriage. And to stand staunchly in defense of the most innocent among us, the unborn. Father, help us, we pray, for the courage it takes to not be politically correct, but morally so. And we ask that your blessings on our military families, those that are separated by deployments, especially those in harm's way. Give them strength as you protect them, a special strength so needed in today's culture to keep their families together. And so, Father, we cannot pray without thanking you for all the blessings that you have bestowed on us, our families, our county, our state, and our nation. Father, we ask all of this in the name of your Son and our precious Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Y'all would turn and face the flag, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd now like to formally call this convention to order. And as chairman, I'm going to make the following appointments. I would like to appoint Craven County Commissioner Scott Dacey as the convention chairman. I'd like to appoint Lucille Thomas as recording secretary, Don Loudon as sergeant at arms, and Lee K. Allen as parliamentarian. With that, chairman, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We have got a number of things that we've got to do today. The first thing I'd like to do is just go over a couple rules. First of all, if you want to be recognized, please raise your hand or stand up, and the chair will recognize you. If there's a couple people that are standing up at the same time, I'll try and do my level best to make certain that I keep you all in order. If I screw up, which I'm likely to do, just wave your hand, and I'll be happy to call on you. When we get to the point of discussing the resolutions, we're going to have 2 rounds of debate, if there is any debate on the resolutions at all. There will be a positive, somebody in favor of it, somebody opposed to it, somebody in favor of it, somebody opposed to it. If the author of the resolution would please go first and introduce the resolution, that would be most helpful if you're here. And the author of the resolution will have a second opportunity to speak after everybody's done in case something needs to be cleared up. If we need to get any further than that, the chair will make a decision. But hopefully that should take care of things. If we get into a situation where there's more than one candidate that's been nominated for an office today, we do have ballots, little colored pieces of paper that we will distribute, and we will ask the precincts to go forward and tally up what the numbers are for each person. And so each person will get a ballot, they will mark the ballot, the precinct chair who's been identified for your precinct today will collect those ballots, and then they will be brought forward to the tellers that I will appoint if that's necessary. Mr. Chairman, I think that we're in good shape. What I'd like to do then is move to the report of the credentials committee. Well, we're going to wait, and we're going to do the guest speaker first, if you all don't mind, so we can let our chairman move forward. Oh, yes. Who wants to be seen? Yes, ma'am.
Seal Wasserman, West New Bern. Under Rule 5, on the motions, it should be the motion should be made from one seat precinct and seconded by another precinct.
Thank you so much. That's very, very helpful. And I will expect to be corrected a couple more times next day. So thank you, Steve. So with that, Steve, are you comfortable in introducing our chairman today?
I am, Mr. Chairman. And I'm honored to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the pleasure of welcoming to Craven County the chairman of the North Carolina Republican Party, Robin Hayes. Prior to being elected to lead our party, Robin served as a member of Congress in North Carolina's 8th District from 1999 to 2009. It is with some sadness that I introduce Robin to you today, as he recently announced that his intention is to retire this year as state party chairman. Through his tenure, he has brought a steady hand to the helm. His practical experience as a businessman has helped our party function well financially, and his political skills have allowed our candidates to perform in even the most difficult of wars. On a local note, the Hayes and Cannon family have been exceptionally generous to Craven County over the years, contributing millions of dollars in support of the Tryon Palace. So it is great pride that I introduce to you today the great statesman and leader of our party, Chairman Robin Hayes.
I wish members of my family could have been here. As I look around the crowd, and I hope to speak to all of you before it's over, I am just really thrilled to be here. This is one small level above where our continued success as a party occurs. I said one small step because the precincts are the home. Please, amens are welcome. Preferable to tomatoes. The precincts are where elections are won. And you win not just by a numerical advantage, but you win because you have made your case and you have established a relationship with folks around you. Our Republican platform is right for America. It's based on our Constitution. It's based on our firm belief that less government and more free enterprise is the key to economic opportunity and success for everyone. Hold those thoughts. Back up just a minute. You all are way ahead of many other folks in the state. You have figured out that Congress did something right one time, and that was taking the comma out of under God. One nation under God. No pause. Let there be no mistake about it. Where is Jerry Shill's church? Does he have a tent or does he have a regular? Behind him, there he is. I'm here to tell you that man told it like it is. How should we as Christians, and not sure, not taking names, what the division or what the count would be here, but they will know us by our love. If we are Christians and we are living up to the call that's been made on our lives. Folks, New Bern is a special place. As you very kindly said, my grandmother loved Tryon Palace, and we continue to be actively involved with something you may not know. My wife, Barbara, worked at Camp Seafarer one summer back in a different century. before we got married. We've been married 45 years, so do the math to the extent you want to. I spent a lot of weekends driving an old red Ford pickup truck down to New Bern and then getting over to Minnesota Beach and Arapahoe and all that good stuff. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I do want you to be thinking about what you want to tell or ask me as your very privileged chairman. I'm going to make a couple remarks and then just stop with the chairman's permission and seek your input. This whole process is about grassroots, individuals, precincts, counties, districts, and then up. But it all happens with grassroots. And our ability to recruit is so critical. Our opposition is not the Democrat Party that you or your parents or grandparents knew. They have devolved into a political machine whose only goal is power. Not even victory, power and control. And if you go into a contest, a fight with them, and you don't know that, you don't acknowledge that, you've got both hands tied behind your back. That's not right. Micah said it well. Love mercy, seek justice. That's what we're about. You can do that, but at the same time, this is a fight. And you have to be prepared. So first thing I want you to remember, we have no enemies on the right. Everybody hear me? We have no enemies on the right. There may be others located on the political spectrum in different places from where we are, but those issues can, should, and will be worked out in a reasonable, logical, and fair fashion. When we're out front, when we're facing the press, the public, whatever the case may be, we have no enemies on the right because we believe smaller government, more individual freedom, following the Constitution, which was based on nature's God and the laws of nature. We're going to stick to that. More opportunity comes through less government, lower taxes, and staying out of debt. If you have those basic precepts in mind, and that is how you believe, then you are a Republican. That's the way forward in my mind as we look at the upcoming election. Our efforts have been to win the next election. And in 2012, you all did a magnificent job. You outshined everybody else in the country when it comes to battleground states. You reached out, you called, you met with, you sought out people who believed that the country was headed in the wrong direction. And you made a huge difference. We won virtually everything in North Carolina, and let nobody make any mistake. It was because of you, our precincts, and our grassroots effort. That has to continue, but with the following caveat. As we were working to win the next election, and we did, our opposition was working to win the next generation. Folks, they have been successful. They have captured our culture. They own the media. Maybe 3% we have some claim to. Entertainment industry, they own the entertainment industry. If they've got some perverted, horrific idea they want to put forward, stick it in the movie, stick it on television, make it look fun, make it look acceptable, make it look normal. We have got to recapture the culture. If you think that what I'm saying is stolen directly from Waking the Sleeping Giant by Tim Daughtry, you are correct. You are absolutely correct. All of the attribution should be to him. How many of you have his book? I've got 3 copies with me in case somebody needs to be rewarded or admonished or whatever. But this is one of the things, not the only thing, that we in the grassroots business who are in charge of voter turnout need to focus on as we recruit folks. They need to know that we have a plan, that we're on offense, that we believe in what we're doing, and we're willing to stand up and lovingly make our case. So, so important. Tim and I have been working together. We have met with the Senate, newly elected, done the presentation. We have met with the U.S. Congress whip team. We're going to meet with the folks in the House. We want the video available that you all can use in your meeting. And the point being, when you bring people into your meeting, you want something there for them. Something new, something exciting, something they can pick up and run with. Just like being in church. If you attract new people but you don't have anything for them to do, they're going to kind of scatter. All right. Running too long. But I am inspired by what you all have done. I have loved the job as a recovering congressman. I never dreamed that I would have the privilege of being state chairman. But being state chairman has given me the opportunity, and I hope you see it this way, to in a tangible way thank you all who have enabled me to be in office for more years than I really want to remember. So going forward, I will be, and that's the only correction, I'm not retiring. I'm simply not running for this office, but the opportunities for you and I and us working together to advance the cause of freedom. And as Tim said, we don't need to defend freedom. We don't need to defend patriotism. We don't need to defend free enterprise. We need to promote it. So the opportunities for us to promote free enterprise, promote freedom and liberty, promote the incredible country that our men and women defend. We flew in here this morning. First conversation, Seymour Johnson. As I told the controller, once an eagle, always an eagle. Then you go over to Cherry Point, Semper Fi. These people are incredible what they do. The things that we need to do for them are to give them nothing less than our best to regain, to retain, and to recover this country that they fight for. Heading down the home stretch, thing I want you to take away. 4 things. I want you to be strong and courageous. I want you to be sensitive and compassionate. Quote, again, I snatched from Harry Reeder. Harry Reeder did an incredible series of tapes on Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, Joshua Chamberlain, Northern General, Hillside, U.S. Grant. As my cousin said, his daughter got married, he said, I don't understand you people. You came down here, you burned Atlanta, you kept Newark, and you went home. What kind of deal was that? But anyway, out of these men's mouths, minds, and hearts came a strong affirmation of our Christian heritage and our belief in and our commitment to Christian principles. So as I look at that, in Harry Reeder's quote, strong and courageous, critically important, we are facing numbers of challenges. Strong and courageous so that we can manage the responsibilities of life. Think about that. Sensitive and compassionate so that we can manage the relationships of life. That's the bottom line, folks. Relationship. Christianity is not a religion. It's a relationship. That's what politics can and should be when it's at its best. Thank you all very much. You got time for questions, Scott? What do you
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Tell me what you need me to know. I will be very, very active. Mr. George.
What are we doing, or what can we do to attract younger voters?
Pizza. It's a short answer, but young folks are hungry. Bring them in, show them a vision of how they, as people who are working their way up, can attain the American dream. Can't get their attention when they're hungry. But when, think of different ways that you can say to them, free enterprise has done more to solve and eradicate poverty around the world than every social program that's ever been put together. Ask a couple questions. What are you going to do with this education you're going to get? Well, I'm going to get a job. What do I want on a job? Well, I want to make some money. Nothing wrong with that. What are you going to do with the money? And they'll pause. Well, I want to help other people. You can't help somebody else. It's like being an airliner. If the mask dropped down, put yours on, and then put the other guys on. That's what we're talking about with free enterprise. You working through with moral conviction, your own career, whatever it may be, then enables you to reach out to others. That's a very, very believable, true, accurate, attractive message, in my opinion, for young folks. Yes, ma'am.
I saw through this last election when the Democrats were garnering the next generation, as you said, but I think his point goes beyond just, you know, offering them pizza, because the media framed the whole argument with social media. You know, the Sandra Fluck got up there, you need to give me birth control, you need to do all these things for me, you need to give student loans, it's all going one way, and yet on the other side you're saying we have this huge debt. I think there's a major disconnect between, we keep pounding the debt, but I don't think we're sending the message. What is that going to do to the next generation? Oh, they're going to be in debt. It doesn't mean anything to them. It's a concept they don't understand, because they don't see anything. They just see things coming their way. They don't see that there's an end. And I think the argument needs to be framed. Somebody needs to come up with a very slick way of saying, down the road, you're not going to have this, or you're not going to. It's got to mean something to them, or they're not going to understand it. That's just my 2 cents.
That was well said and very eloquent. I've been somewhat frivolous and facetious when I mentioned feeding. You need to get them in and get their attention so that you can make your case. They have been raised in a generation of free ice cream. The Obama message. Vote for me. Life is good. You'll get everything you need. We have to counter that with logic. Logic up against emotion, initially, hard to make the case. But again, as you build a relationship, and it comes from a laying on of ears, not from talking. What do you, John, Susie, whatever, see as the challenges that face this country? You might be able to prod them, or it might be necessary. There's been a lot of promises made. None of them have been kept. The president has appropriately been named the Lion King. L-Y-I-N. It's because he has not been truthful with you or me or the country. Now, what are our options? Sit back and hope it gets better? Obviously it hasn't. Got any kind of figures, facts you want. But again, your appeal to the person in front of you has to be tailored to what is concerning them. Once you establish respect, relationship begins to grow. They have convinced themselves that you care about them and their future. Then you have the option and the capability to come in and say, here's what I think will really turn things around for you. About evangelism. I think that hand was first.
Thank you. Chase, I really appreciate the opportunity to be here as we so eloquently state the position of the Republican Party. I've been to 2 state conventions just recently that I got disappointed in. Both times it seemed that the convention leaders were more interested in getting the, I don't know, the banquets, the affairs, the events taken care of, than actually doing the business that the delegates went there to do. Both the last 2 conventions, we were unable to finish the business. Resolutions and things like that, the delegates want to do, for having a break and go do some of these other things, and then all these decisions we think are tremendously important, got left to the executive committee. Thanks for your comment.
I think that's a very accurate statement. I think it's something that we have to be extremely sensitive to. As you well know, people have different interests. Some folks are far more dedicated to the process and the outcome than others. Have to kind of balance that. Let me throw the wild card in. In order for the party to function, we have to raise money. Well, the main things that we do, and this is not to say this can't change, is the funds that we raise at state convention. That requires dinners and speakers and breakouts and all of that sort of thing. Again, a process matter. If people understood going in what the process is, they don't have to agree with it, just understand what it is and play by the rules, then that speeds things up. it streamlines things. And you don't get to arguing about things that have no business under the rules being on the floor. Am I saying the plan of organization perfect? Absolutely not. You can change that too. But those are just a few mechanical things that I think would be helpful. Now, here's a suggestion I'm making. This is top secret. Don't you dare let this out of the room. I'm sure I can count on it. It's important that the state party raise sufficient funds to conduct your business in a way that reflects favorably on our efforts. Now, there's always the continuing discussion of priorities and who does what and all that sort of thing. What I am suggesting to our elected officials and our governor and the speaker and the president pro tem, the party is a grassroots turnout organization. Don't lose sight of that. We raise money because people send in the widow's mite in many cases. For direct mail, for membership, that's something that parties should do. That signifies a commitment on the part of individuals, critically important. We should have a few events like we have at the state convention. Can scale it back if they will take my advice and let the governor and the House and the Senate pay to keep the headquarters open, pay to do the clerical work, pay to do the thing that we do that they couldn't live without. That then frees us up to do what we need to do in terms of party planning, organization, and execution.
Mr. Chairman,
Sorry for the long answer.
I'm Hal James from Grantham 1A, and I failed to state that when I talked.
Now, you're dismissed. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I just want to follow up. What's your name, sir? George. Okay, I'm John Jerkson, and I'm from Trentwood's precinct. Just follow up on what you said with the lady over there. Said I'm not the youngest person in this room. I don't think. Coder probably has me beat, but one of them. And I just wanted to just thank the chair, Mr. Hayes, for just communicating how important it is for grassroots to really lead the way. And one of the things that, as a younger person, if you would want to say to them that, those of us who were not delegates at the national level in Tampa who were paying attention saw that there were some crazy scripted voice votes and some things that really felt like they were cutting off the roots of the grassroots. And so I just a little bit disillusioned by that. But then we had the very next week, we had the Democratic Party doing their own sham convention. So there was a lot of opportunity to be disillusioned. But I think what young people want is that what you said is the free market principles, limited government principles, constitutional adherence. Sometimes we see both parties failing in that, and it's very interesting you say that we have no enemies within our own ranks. However, this past week we had Senators McCain and Lindsey Graham, ridiculing the courageous senator from Kentucky for looking after our right to privacy. So it's not apparent that we don't have any enemies within our ranks, but I think we got to get it figured out by the next election.
I want the record to show that even though you don't have gray hair and not on a walker, I let you speak. I hear it all the time, the establishment of this and that is got in order, and that can't be. That's human nature. That's not Republican nature. That's human nature. But we have to be willing and able to bring all of our tremendous resources and assets together. And again, that's part of my role before and going forward, to help people understand that the process is there. It needs to be followed. It can be changed. But when you begin at the precinct level, you take a vision and build it into a movement, which creates something. Once you arrive at the state convention or the national convention, it's a done deal. It needs to be done from the bottom up. That way it cannot be undone. I don't care whether you're in Tampa or Charlotte or wherever. Hand back here. Yes, ma'am.
It's Seal Wasserman, West Newburgh. Following through on Hal's question. The time that we commence on Friday afternoon is 2 o'clock and we adjourn at 5 o'clock. And in those 3 hours, we cannot get everything covered on the agenda. Why do we not start the convention at like 10 in the morning and break for lunch and then continue on? Yes, it means that it's an extra night that you have to be in wherever the convention's being held. But then at least maybe we could get the agenda completed.
Well, that's a good suggestion, and as you mentioned, there is a hardship imposed on people no matter where the convention is to get there, and we try to condense it down, but maybe it's past time to reconsider, meet at 10 in the morning, how long you need, kind of an unofficial, whatever the pro forma work session to help, mow the grass and trim the weeds and do that sort of stuff so you're better prepared when the actual time begins that you shape and form the resolutions and things. Those are things that we just need to work on continuously and get better and better at. I want to ask you a shock question. I haven't failed to see your hand. I'm a duck hunter. I see it coming from anywhere. Shock question. I don't want you to think. I want you to raise your hand if you think it would be possible to have a state convention at Cherokee. Everybody think that's possible? You got 3 seconds. Raise your hand. All right. Okay. Everybody that thinks it's a bad idea to have it at Cherokee, raise your hand. All right, that's pretty anonymous.
Where's Cherokee?
Location is a somewhat minor issue to some other implications. The reason I got everybody started up, hope you don't mind, is they have a facility there that is second to none in the state of North Carolina. And from a competitive standpoint, they have offered for 2014 that venue at a tremendously impressive price. They do have gambling. I am against gambling. However, that is separate, and as Bernadette said, you don't have to. I don't know if the question ever come up, but I wanted to plant a few things in your mind, get you stirred up. They really want us to come, and they're offering a whole bunch of things that if you want to take your family, it's up in the mountains. They offered to take us to one of the best outdoor dramas in North Carolina, Hunt These Hills, free bus. So again, it's a tempting thing. Decision's not going to be made today or tomorrow, but I want, since I'm here with the good folks, I want y'all to begin to think about it.
Mr. Chairman, now that they know there's gambling,
Yes.
maybe ask them again.
All right, it's a motion to reconsider the vote. Now, do you know that they do have gambling on the bottom floor? Anybody want to go? I see these slot machine players. All right, we had some fun with that. Don't, I'm sure it's going to turn up on the news. Hayes promotes gambling. We need to get rid of the lottery while we're at it. But, all right, another question. Yes, sir.
Paul Hill, Fairfield Harbor. Handicap the Senate race coming up. We've got an unbelievable chance to knock off that senator's seat. Has the party done the right recruiting to make sure we got good candidates that can beat that?
Everybody understand the question? Hear the question? I'm not sure precisely what the party's role is, but the party's role, among other things, is to let people know that Senator Kay Hagan, who's been very active in the state of North Carolina, which seems good, she votes for Harry Reid. She supports Barack Obama. So that having been said, we need somebody that believes like us. And there is a race. It should be competitive. We will have a strong and party-building, if we do it right, issue-oriented primary campaign. And out of that primary, if we do our job, we will have someone who will defeat Kay Hagan on the basis of being right on the issue. Yes, sir.
Just to address the gentleman over there, there is somebody running for Senate. His name is Greg Brannon. He's a doctor. He's very conservative, very constitutional, principled guy. So you guys just want to look him up, Greg Brandon.
Good. I was unaware, but again, you gotta get the word out. People need to really be out here working for the office, but also working for that particular candidate.
Ron?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Don Loudon from Grantham 2B. I have heard rumors that the Lion King is going to do everything in his power to set aside the Constitution, and especially going against Amendment number 22. He wants a third term. What are we doing about that?
I hope we're actively resisting it. It's not a rumor, that's a fact.
Yeah.
There's 3 facts that you mentioned. This is the most imperial presidency. You could write a novel and try to create an imperial president, and I don't think you could do what this fellow has done. So, again, the way to make sure it doesn't happen starts in the precinct. There's all kind of things being done at the national, state, district, all those levels, but again, having people know and understand. Remember what Tim Doctor said. Remember, we get our people fired up and they came out and voted and we elected our folks in North Carolina, and then we went back to work. We went back to our everyday lives, doing the things that we need to do to support our families and be good citizens. Folks, got to change that. 24/7, 365. 2013's local elections. Critical, important time that you can reach out to folks because local issues will get people's attention. With the 22nd Amendment, what's that? Here's a chance for us to be out there every day. And again, it's the same old story. Grassroots, precinct, relationship, boom, end of story.
One more question.
One more question.
Joan Campbell, Fairfield Harbor. Mr. Hayes, I'm pleased to be here today to listen to you.
Pleased that you are here.
My question is, how do we counteract the use of social media? Facebook, the bombarding of the young people with all of this. I call Obama our MTV and Dancing with the Stars president. How do we, as we look around, primarily older people, counteract that and get the word out through that? Because I think that's a really strong problem we are facing today. How?
This
When
is
the
an
media is
iPhone. Anybody
definitely
ever
not
heard of
in our
that?
favor.
I never dreamed that I would have an iPhone. It's hard enough for me to use a round dial. But for various and sundry reasons, I have upgraded myself ever so slightly. And not making light of your comment because it's critically important. We can, we should, and we must be better at using every form of communication, and social media blows my mind. But, and that's the second part of her question, don't forget, we'll get back, or she can ask it for you. What we're doing, and we met the other day with a large group of people from SAS. How many of you are familiar with SAS? SAS is an incredible North Carolina company that exemplifies free enterprise and incredible success because of, in my opinion, among other things, a tremendous working relationship between management and employee. It's all family. That makes it an even more strong statement that we have to use the assets available to us. And as I said in the meeting, folks, the Washington Consulting Group are about me enterprise. Folks like SAS in business, supporting families, making a profit, making a living, are about free enterprise. Free enterprise, not me enterprise, in the future gets us where we want to be. Did you have a follow-up on that?
No.
Yes, and I'm the last one.
Okay. Bill Campbell, Fairfield Harbor. We have in this country a debt. The clock goes around, shows $16 trillion. Most people are just glaze over and no, that's not. If the Republicans could somehow paint the picture and make that, suppose you're just a family and you get X dollars, and show what is that $16 trillion. And then they show $100 bills being pumped out. So I think that's a strong point that we as Republicans could come and say, well, wait a minute. You stick with the Democrats, you're not 16 over 17, 18. That doesn't mean anything to them.
It does. It means you have a Democrat shrinking pie of which more people get less of the pie.
But painted,
Yeah.
such that you got X dollars in a family and spend.
Nick Mulvaney did that very well when he used the home mortgage to do that. But again, using social media and other efforts, we do that. Last point, back to my original point, no enemies on the right, grassroots, precinct. Our people at home need to know how important this is. They need to be ready and receptive and prepared to process that message, because somebody lives next to that young person who he knows and trusts, that they can get that word out. You've got to remember the next generation, the culture is owned by the media, the entertainment, and the education system. We win an election, woohoo! Send them back to school. Public school tells them redistribution is superior for enterprise. So again, thank you. Lake Wobegon and Garrison Keillor kind of left-wing wackos, but it makes me think, here in Newbern today, all the women are beautiful and the men are above average.
We'll stick around and wait to auction these things off or something. Mr. Chairman, thank you very, very much. Sammy and I had the opportunity to represent Craven County at the National Convention this last year in Florida. And on behalf of all those who attended, I want to thank you very much for doing such a spectacular job in leading our delegation. We had outstanding seats, and I think we all had a very good time. We got along well, and Sammy enjoyed himself, I believe, from the discussions that he and I had. And I just want to thank you very much for all of your leadership, and thank you so much for coming here today. And
when you have a crisis going on, you just need to stand there calmly and act like, well, everything will be fine.
Jerry's going to take you over to the palace, and then this is the lady. She's going to meet you at the front desk of the History Center and show you around.
Folks, let me introduce to you probably one of the best district chairmen in history Republican Party politics. David Black, stand up. You notice he takes his hair this way. He understands it as many others do. Our future is bright. Our vision is clear. Larry the Cable Guy says, get her done. When I come back, I want to see the shirts. I did.
We are going to move to the Credentials Committee report. Is John here? There you are. Okay.
What do you want as far as the...
Well, okay, well, here's what I guess we should do here. Now, what I'd like you to do is read through each of the precincts, and then if each of the precincts could have an individual stand up and just let John know exactly how many people you've got here. We're going to tally that up and make certain that everything meshes with the registrations that we've got.
Thanks, Scott. Yes, George, precinct has 7 votes.
How many people are here from George Street?
I believe 2.
Where are they at?
One's myself and,
Okay, so you met earlier and you got 2.
yes.
Okay, that's all I need
2.
to say.
Fort Trotton, 5 votes.
Nobody from Fort Totten.
Grover C. Fields, 7 votes.
Nobody from Grover C. Fields.
H.J. McDonald, 13 votes.
1 for H.J.
Glen Burnie Road, 5 votes.
No votes for Glen Burnie.
West Newbern, 17 votes.
6 attendance.
6. Trent Woods, 18 votes.
There are 5 in attendance, the 3 of us, 2 of them.
We're not supposed to have less than that.
Yeah.
5 for Trent Woods, okay?
Reams, 5 votes.
How many votes have you?
Reams,
Supposed to, they have 5 ballots. How many are here today? None. 0.
Riverbend, speciality.
Riverbend?
5.
12 votes.
5 are present.
5. Clark's, 4 votes. 0.
None are present.
Jasper, 9 votes.
None are present. Oh,
Jerry's
Jerry's here.
Still left.
Jerry, but he'll be back.
1. Cove City, 5 votes. None.
None.
Dover, 3 votes. None. Fort Barnwell, 4 votes. Bridgeton, 13 votes.
No votes.
Truett, 4 votes.
No votes.
Emul, 4 votes.
Colonel.
Not here.
Huh?
John, we're gonna work on these names for next year.
Zero. Vanceboro, 11 votes.
Not here.
Two for Vanceboro.
2. Epworth, 4 votes.
Not here.
0 votes.
1A Grantham, 12.
12.
Spoke to you the other night. We got Fairfield Harbor coming up, so don't confuse me. Croatan, 11 votes.
3.
3. East Havelock, 18 votes.
2.
Harlow,
3.
10 votes.
3.
Excuse me, 3?
3.
Fairfield Harbor,
12.
Bryce Creek,
2.
West Havelock,
West Havelock has 4.
Grantham 2B.
7.
How many? Go. If you can, please announce the number of votes that they have. She's recording.
Okay, I'm sorry, Grantham has 20 votes.
Grantham 2B.
2B has 20 votes.
Okay, we'll get this reconciled after.
Yeah, I'll straighten up with you.
All done?
All done, that's.
Okay.
I would like to amend our count.
Yes, sir.
We
Please,
have another
please
person.
stand and announce it.
West Newbern has 7. Carl, Michigan, West Newbern, we have 7, not 6.
We missed Jeff.
He's one of them. Inmates stay in that area.
The batter's team.
Okay, so if the... You've got 68?
68.
Excellent, outstanding. We got 68. Okay. All right, so that's our baseline. If we've got any votes that will occur later on, we don't. Yes, Mr. Speciale.
So what do we need, what we need to pass it, I just want to see what we need to pass.
Well, you have 68, it's going to be half plus 1, so we need 34 plus 1, so we got 35 in order to have a majority.
I just want to see how quick you let
I'm a school math guy. Okay, so we're all good with the credentials. Is there any question about credentials? Everybody's good? John? You got anything
Yeah,
else?
I'm good. That's good.
All right, with that, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda. There is an amendment that Mr. Tyson is going to make in a moment, but is there a motion to approve the agenda as handed out?
Motion to approve.
Please stand up, state your name.
Paul Hill, Fairfield Harbor.
And is there a second?
Second, Tom Mark, Fairfield Harbor.
Very good.
Chairman,
It
Mr.
has to be from a
Chairman,
second, heating sealed words, it has to be from a second precinct.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
point of order.
Yes,
There is an amendment to that agenda
yes, ma'am.
because which many people probably don't know.
Right. That's what I just said.
Motion and second.
I said we're going to put the agenda in order, make it in order, and then there's going to be an amendment that's going to be offered.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, is there a second from a second? Yes, Mr. Speciale back here seconded the motion. Okay, the agenda is now in play.
I'd like to make the following amendments to the agenda. Under new business, we would like to add a member at large for the 1st and 3rd congressional districts. And under new business, I would like to add candidate statements at the end of the new business.
Okay, and the chair will go ahead and suggest that we put the member at large for the 1st and 3rd districts at the end of the election of executive officers section, and that the candidate speeches will come as the 4th element within the new business section. No problem. Is there a second for that amendment?
Sandy got it.
Sandy got it. Okay, is there any discussion? Mr. Tyson. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The agenda is amended. Now on final consideration of the agenda as presented and amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The agenda is approved as amended. Adoption of the convention rules. Rick Layton, Jerry Schill, Steve Tyson. Mr. Tyson, do you have anything to offer on convention rules?
Has everybody had the opportunity to review them? Does anybody have any comments or suggestions?
Ms. Wasserman, do you want to?
Yeah, C.O. Wasserman, I think we covered that earlier. We're in Rule 4 on motions.
Okay.
The person who motions must be from one precinct and the seconder has to be from another precinct.
Okay. Would you like to make an amendment to the rules as presented?
Are you suggesting, ma'am, that that's not currently in the rule?
That's correct. It does not state that. It just states that a motion and a second need to be made to put a motion on the floor.
Okay,
But it needs to be stated that the person who makes the motion and the person who makes the second are not from the same precinct.
okay, and where are you getting that?
Under number 4 in the proposed rules,
Okay, here's my point. The rules do not currently say that. Are you asking that they should be amended to say that?
yes.
Okay, and is there some directive that you've got that suggests that that should be the case, or is this just something that you desire?
It's parliamentary procedure that you don't have a motion and a second from the same precinct.
These are our
I mean,
rules.
this is something we've been doing for years.
Would you like to make the amendment?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. There is an amendment proposed that if somebody is going to offer a motion that the person who is seconding it must come from a different precinct. Is there a second for that motion?
I said that.
Ellen from Prince Woods seconded it. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the amendment as proposed signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The rules stand as amended. Any further amendments to the rules? All those in favor of the rules as presented and amended signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Reports. Minutes of the 2012 TCGOP Convention. Lucille Thomas, Recording Secretary. Okay.
Convention was called to order by Scott Dacey as acting chairman for Chuck Tyson. Pledge of allegiance and presentation of colors was led by Scott Dacey. Opening remarks were given by Scott Dacey, and Scott welcomed all delegates, alternates, guests, and elected officials. The appointment of meeting officers, convention chairman George McNulty, Sergeant-at-Arms John Loudon, parliamentary assistant Tyson, recording secretary Lucille Thomas. Adoption of rules of convention chairman Steve Tyson. Report of the Credentials Committee. Chairman George McNulty reported that all people who have been allowed in the auditorium were members. Approval of the 2012 Craven County Convention minutes prepared by Lucille Thomas. Motion to accept the minutes was made by Ms. Thomas, Grantham 2B, and second by Sherry Bradbury 2B. Sorry, that's my rule. Adoption of plan of organization. Acting Chairman Scott Dacy stated that there were no changes. The new executive board will review it in accordance with the Board of Compliance and State North Carolina State Plan of Organization. Report of committees. 11 resolutions were submitted to the members. After much discussion, all but one was accepted and voted on. Resolution 2 was not accepted. All resolutions are attached to the original minutes. Treasurer's report. Bill Taylor gave the treasurer's report, and the report will be filed for audit. All candidates gave brief remarks. Guest speaker Pat McCrory, candidate for North Carolina governor, talked about his plans for North Carolina. He hit on all problems that North Carolina faced. Our tax problems, our business, our school, and their ladies. He asked for our support, and he answered questions from the floor. Report of nomination committee. Rick Clayton, chairman, Raynard James, and Frank Colombo. Chairperson, Chuck Tyson. First vice chair, Scott Dacy. Second vice chair would be Frank Colombo. Treasurer, Bill Taylor. Reporting secretary, Lucille Thomas. Members at large are 5. Administration, George McNulty. Human resources, Julia Capshore. Logistics, Don Loudon. Operations, Rick Layton. And precinct chairs, Steve Tyson. Announcements. All interested in going to the convention for the 3rd District or 1st District and the North Carolina GOP State Convention are to come to the front table and sign up. The meeting is adjourned at 4:30 p.m.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes as stated?
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Loudon, seconded by
Second, John Baldwin.
John Baldwin. Okay, are there any modifications that need to be made to the minutes as presented? Yes, sir. Please state your name.
Did I hear that you read the 2012 minutes last year, or that the
Yeah, last
2011?
year, 2012.
Oh,
She's reviewing.
She read the 2011 minutes.
okay, that's it, sir.
She couldn't have read the 2012 minutes because they weren't ready.
I know, that's,
Oh, yeah, I'm
Just work with
sorry.
us here. Just work with us. Mr. James.
Mr. Chairman, Al James Grant, I'm not sure which one was the second resolution that did that, but I do know that the resolution that called for 2 countywide meetings of all Republicans did pass. I just wanted to be sure that it reflected that, and I'm not sure what it was.
It did pass, but due to the absence of the acting chairman at that time, named.
I'm sure it was an oversight that wasn't done. I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for pointing that out, sir. Anything else? All those in favor of the minutes as presented signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The minutes stand as presented. Thank you very much. Treasurer's report, Mr. Bill Taylor, CPA.
Okay. Last year at this time, we had a cash balance of $16,757.68. We've received contributions of $3,135. Our convention netted $240.09. The event with Newt Gingrich netted $6,170. The Republican Men's Club has contributed $1,540. Resales of bumper stickers, signs, and so forth netted $580.91. And thus far, the Reagan Day has netted $2,446.58 for a cash income of $14,112.58. Expenses, the Havelock office expense was $2,729.67. Newman office expenses were $9,908.31, and our operations was a total of $14,400.78. most of which was signs and advertising during the election. So we had a total cash outlay of $27,038.76. So the net cash decrease is $12,926.18, and our ending cash balance is $3,831.50. Does anybody have any questions?
Is there a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented?
Same God.
Same God. Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Paul Hill. Are there any questions? All those in favor of the treasurer's report as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The treasurer's report is adopted. Thank you very much. Report of the Resolutions Committee. Chairman Jim Klein, Julia Capshaw, and Mary Liz. Who wants to come forward and present the resolution? Outstanding. Mr. Klein, please. Thank you.
The Resolutions Committee has reported out 4 resolutions. They've been displayed on the computer back there. They've been on the website and have been published to the, and there's also copies here. We tried to limit the number of copies just because of the expense of printing. What we'd like to do this time is slightly change the procedure. So what I'll do is we'll go through the resolutions one at a time. Mr. Chairman, you want to do this with a voice vote first, or do you want to?
If we can accomplish it with a voice vote, I prefer to do so.
Here's the issue. If we find that we can't use a voice vote for each one of these resolutions, we're going to distribute a tally by precinct. It'll be up to the precinct chairs to poll their precinct. The tally will tell you how many votes you're entitled to. If you have less than the number that you're totally entitled to, you have to vote only the number that is here, as reported to the convention. So we'll go through this and see if we can just do voice votes. And like I say, if we can't, then we're going to have to go by the tally. First was, and also I should point out on the resolutions themselves, where the Resolutions Committee found some of the non-essential provisions of the resolution to be not acceptable. We simply took them out. You'll notice, for those of you that have copies, they're marked in red, where the Resolutions Committee made some. There's also some minor spelling corrections and stuff like that in there. But basically, the feeling was we wanted the resolution to go forward if possible, but some of the provisions seem to be a little bit onerous in terms of the mechanics of how the resolution was handled. So at this point, first resolution is a resolution. I'm just going to read the resolve and the title. It's a resolution to all elected Republican officials at all levels of government.
Sir, excuse me, if you hold 1 second. Mr. Speciale?
What was the red again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Those were areas that the resolution committee changed for one reason or another. Some were spelling, some were the fact that the resolution called for things like sending certified mail out to a whole lot of people where the expense would need to be not practical for the party.
So, but everything, regardless of color, what you have on here is the resolution.
Yes. Yes. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay. First one was by Sammy Dodd. Resolution to all elected Republican officials at all levels of government concerning party platform adherence.
Can we make a motion to just resolve?
Sure. I think that's what he's going to do.
That's all I'm going to do. The title and the resolve. We'll just go with the resolve. Resolve, the people through watchdog organizations will monitor our Republican elected officials at all levels to ensure adherence to the Republican Party platform and work to replace those who do not adhere to the voice of the people. And we said, upon adoption by the Craven County GOP convention delegates, this resolution will be forwarded to the district convention for their consideration. We removed the third resolve that is not pertaining to the GOP convention. You want to do a voice?
Okay, so that resolution is on the floor. Ms. Wasserman?
Seal Wasserman, West Newburgh. Before this is sent to district, there's a correction, it's grammatical in the second whereas. Represent the positions of the people who elected them, not whom. And at the second resolved to the district conventions, because we are in the 1st and 3rd districts in Craven County.
I'm sorry, what was the last one?
The second resolved, forwarded to the district conventions. It's going to go to the 1st district and the 3rd district.
I will take responsibility for the second area.
Okay, I presume that those are amendments that have been suggested. Is there a second?
I will second.
Mr. Dodd seconds those amendments. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Any further amendments to the resolution as presented? Seeing none, all those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Please move on to resolution number 2.
Resolution number 2, again submitted by Sammy Dodd. The resolution to preserve and defend the United States Constitution and the North Carolina Constitution. Resolved that the Craven County Republican Party respectfully requests the Craven County Board of Commissioners resolve as representatives of the people to defend the Second Amendment and Article 1, Section 30 of the North Carolina Constitution, and will not consent to unconstitutional laws, executive orders, or foreign domestic tyranny. Furthermore, the Craven County Republican Party call on the Governor and General Assembly of North Carolina to pass legislation that will guarantee the protection of our God-given right to the defense of liberty and our person for all North Carolinians, and resolve upon adoption this resolution by the Craven County GOP Convention delegates. This resolution will be forwarded to the district convention for their consideration.
Resolution is now on the floor.
John Gertson, Brentwood, same issue Seal brought up, convention for resolved.
It's me again. I'll fix it.
Mr. Dodd, do you need to say anything on this, or can we go forward?
Yeah, go ahead and go further.
Any other amendments as to the resolution? Doesn't. All those in favor of the resolution as presented signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Please move on to number 3.
Okay, number 3 is submitted by Gennaro Figueroa, a resolution to restore North Carolina state sovereignty. Let it be resolved that the Craven County Republican Party hereby affirms the sovereignty of North Carolina and her citizens under the 9th and 10th Amendments of the Constitution of the United States over all powers not otherwise enumerated and granted to the federal government. We also request that the federal government halt and reverse the practice of assuming powers and of imposing mandates upon states for purposes not enumerated by the Constitution of the United States.
The resolution is on the floor. Are there any amendments? Mr. Ritchie?
The last paragraph, therefore, it needs to be, I'm in favor of it, it needs to be jazzed up a bit, because it doesn't signify responsibility. And if you go down to the part where it says and request, the governor and the attorney general take all necessary actions to halt the federal government and reverse the practice of assuming powers and imposing mandates on the state for purposes not enumerated by the Constitution of the United States. That spells out through the action that you see up, otherwise the Constitution. The other thing that has a bearing on this.
Sir, if we can, let's take one thing at a time here.
Well, I'll do it and I'll shut up. The Attorney General is a Democrat and the Governor is a Republican. And we didn't have a candidate for the Attorney General in the last election, and we need one. And if you put this in there, it's either going to move, get out. Thank you.
All right, now, Mr. Ritchie, is there any specific language that you would suggest?
I just really,
I think we'll need it for the clerk.
I think the gist of it was that you were adding the governor.
John, please stand and be recognized.
Sorry. I think, reading this and hearing you speak, that the difference was related to adding, you're asking the governor to do something. Is that correct?
And Attorney General.
And Attorney General, and rather than have a date.
Mr. Don?
If I may, just offer a small friendly amendment to what he's proposing, maybe also add the North Carolina General Assembly to that as well.
All right, Mr. Ritchie, if you'd be kind enough to provide to the clerk your amendment as stated. So the amendment has been proposed by Mr. Ritchie. Is there a second for the amendment?
Yes, I think the amendment.
Very good. John Tremblay? Okay, so the amendment has been offered, it has been seconded. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Yes, sir.
I just wanted to question.
On the amendment?
Yeah, unlike the first two, this didn't have anything about forward to the district convention or conventions. Is that necessary, or does it upon passage?
It will automatically go to the district convention.
All right.
Okay, hearing no further discussion on the amendments on the amendment as presented, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Is there, the ayes have it, the amendment is adopted. Is there any further discussion on the resolution itself as amended? Hearing none, all those in favor of the resolution as presented and amended signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it, the resolution is adopted. Please move on to resolution number 4.
Okay.
The final resolution.
A resolution to urge the Congress of the United States to withdraw from the United Nations so that the United States may retain its sovereignty. Therefore therefore, let it be resolved that the North Carolina Republican Party respectfully but firmly requests that the United States Congress take measures to dissolve the membership of the United States in the United Nations, thereby freeing the nation from a large financial burden and retaining its sovereignty to decide what is best for this country, as well as the steps it considers appropriate to take as a leader of the free world with full control of its armed forces and destiny, and resolve the North Carolina Republican Party urge our North Carolina congressmen to uphold the United States Constitution and to support H.R. 1146, the American Sovereignty Restoration Act of 2009, which calls for the United States to withdraw from the United Nations.
Resolution is on the table. Ms. Wasserman?
We've stated, sorry, Carl, North Carolina Congressman, I think also we need to address the North Carolina senators.
Congressional delegation.
Or just say the North Carolina Congressional Delegation. That would take care of it.
It says United States Congress.
It says the United States.
Congressmen.
Congressman. Congressional delegation.
I think congressional delegation is better.
Those two
Okay, that's an amendment that's been offered by Ms. Wasserman. Is there a second from another precinct?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Dodd. Is there any discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. Any further discussion on the underlying resolution? Yes, sir.
Bill Campbell, our only question to the last resolve mentions H.R. 1146. With the new Congress that was just started, I believe all pending resolutions died. So unless this has been reintroduced, we're asking this.
The gentleman makes a very good point. H.R. 1136 has not been introduced yet. There is no H.R. bill that's that big. Yeah.
So we may want to, if this goes forward, you may want to change it to say reintroduce the content or put a new name. But we're asking you here to support something that's dead.
To reintroduce the content of HR.
To reintroduce. HR 75.
HR 75.
That's 2013 or 2012.
The first session of the 113th Congress has been introduced as HR 75. So,
Is it called the American Sovereign?
would you like to offer that as an amendment, that you'd like to have a change to reflect the current bill of HR 75?
Propose that the language be amended to that effect.
Is there a second? It's been seconded by Bernadette. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution stands amended. Is there anything further? Yes.
Again, Bill Hamel, I guess I would speak in opposition to the resolution. I support many of the things that are in the resolution. I think the United Nations has gone to success in many areas, but believe that there should be a forum for being able to debate some of these issues, a multilateral forum, not just a bilateral discussion. Some way that we can have a dialogue amongst all of the nations where you can debate some of these issues. You can hear all sides, serve as a safety valve to be able to diffuse some of these issues. But again, I agree with many of the whereases that there's a considerable number of excesses in what the United Nations has done. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is there anybody that would like to speak in favor of the resolution? Mr. Mishka.
Carl Mishka from West New Bern. I watched the United Nations from both walking in New York on the east side and their wonderful piece of real estate to the things they keep bringing, and our leadership brings the United Nations treaties, signs them without us knowing about them. The United Nations' main purpose now is not to create a forum, I believe, for people to discuss and air differences, but to take down the strongest nation in the world and make everything the same as a communist world. And I speak very much against the United Nations. I speak for this resolution because there's far more bad than there is good coming out of East 42nd to 46th Street.
Is there, as noted earlier, the chair will entertain 2 rounds of debate on a given issue. Is there anybody that is interested in speaking in opposition to the resolution? Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote on the resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
In the humble opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Thank you very much for your work, and the members of the Resolutions Committee. Moving on to new business. Adoption of a plan of organization. The chair is not aware of any changes to the existing plan of organization. The plan of organization, which we have for Craven County, says that we must adopt a plan of organization at each of our conventions. The state plan of organization says that if we make no changes to a plan of organization, that you don't really have to change it. So the chair sees no need to necessarily have to adopt it, but I'm welcome to do so if you all want to. So is there a motion to adopt the
Motion to adopt the current plan of organization.
There's a motion to adopt the current plan of organization. Is there a second? Second. And second, Mr. McNulty. Any discussion? All those in favor of the plan of organization as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The plan of organization is adopted. Report of the nominating committee. Tom Mark, Chairman. Sherry Bradbury and Paul Hill.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to thank Sherry Bradshaw and Paul Hill for
Bradbury.
Bradbury, right. She happens to be not here today due to the fact that her husband had bypass surgery. Otherwise she would be here. Before I get into the nominations, I would like to say this. as a commissioner and also as being the nominating chairman at the last convention. And I want to thank those individuals who have served on the executive committee. And I want everybody to remember that in the last 5 years, we have elected 3 people to the Senate. We have 2 people to the Senate, excuse me, 3 people to the House of Representatives, 3 new commissioners. We have re-elected 2 commissioners that were already there. We have elected 2 new judges. We have elected 2 new aldermen, Sabrina Bangle and Danny Booker. And I just want to congratulate those people who are on the executive board for, number 1, supporting us and all the people that were elected, and also for raising monies that were larger than we had in the past. And I just want to thank them all. Thank you. Excuse anyone who's not from New York, excuse my accent. I'm working on 102. I did 101. I can say you all. Now I'm working on 102.
Hey, Tom, you're the only guy in the room that sounds right to me.
Well, the only difference is I knew how to pronounce Ernal or Truitt. And I want to thank those 2 people from Vanceboro for being here. And please see me after the meeting.
That's all in his district.
For chairman of the executive committee, we have asked Chuck Tyson to once again step up to the plate. As vice chairman, Scott Dacey. Second vice chairman, Bernadette McNulty. Treasurer, Bill Taylor. Recording secretary, Joan Taylor. Campbell, sorry. Corresponding secretary, I hope I know her name, Lorraine Mark. Operations, Mary Liz Haynes. Is that Hines or Haynes? Hines. George McNulty and administration. At the present time, the precincts will be done at open ballot. And I must say to you right now that precincts is probably one of the most important jobs that we have in the executive branch, except for the chairman. And it's going to require a lot of hard work on that gentleman.
Stand up, state your name and your
I'd like to nominate Bill Harper, A3. Anyway, I'd like to nominate Harold James for the Republican Party chairman.
Okay, are there any other nominations for any of the other positions? Hearing none, what the chair will do then is close the nominations and ask that those which are not being competed be agreed to by acclamation. And then we will go ahead and ask the 2 individuals that have been nominated for chairman to just simply stand up and maybe give us 2 minutes. And then we would move to a ballot. So if that's acceptable with everybody, I would move, or ask that somebody move that the rest of the candidates be accepted by acclamation.
So moved.
Mr. Hill, is there a second?
Second.
Yes.
Seconded by Mr. Lowdy. Okay, all those, done, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, with that said, the 2 individuals that have been identified as nominees for chairman, Mr. James, if you'd be kind enough to come up, and Mr. James, if you'd be kind enough to give us 2 minutes, and then I'm going to let Chairman Tyson have 2 minutes, and we'll be around that.
Yeah.
No.
I guess I could make myself heard. First of all, I want to thank Bill Harper for putting my name in nomination. I think it's a great honor when a friend has enough confidence in your leadership ability to nominate you for a position like this. Secondly, I want you to vote for me for this position if you agree with 2 premises that I want to lay out. and not if you don't. And it won't hurt my feelings one bit. First of all, one of the positions that I take has already been spoken to in the new resolutions that were just passed, and that is that I think that every person who, we need to seek out and find candidates for the Republican Party that adhere to very conservative values of government. They need to believe strongly in smaller government, less interference from the government, less social dependency from the government. That's the first thing. And I think we should get out and work hard for those people that we nominate in those positions. The second thing dates back to the last convention where a resolution was passed to have the two open meetings for any Republican to come to, 2 meetings a year, where they could vote and help lay the groundwork. In other words, a grassroots driven party. I think our party has been driven too hard from the top down, and grassroots means it starts right at the bottom with the first Republican, not necessarily on the executive committee. You need to hear from all Republicans. It needs to work from there up to the district and to the state, and we'll tell them how we want our party run. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have thoroughly enjoyed being chairman of the Craven County GOP for the last 4 years. I think during that time we've really had some amazing success. That said, I hereby withdraw my name from nomination as chairman and move that we accept Hal James by acclamation, because I believe it's important that we have new leadership in this county that will be able to demonstrate their ability to do an excellent job. So that said, I withdraw my name from nomination, and I make a motion that he be accepted by acclamation.
Okay, unfortunately, that motion, let me think this thing through 1 second here.
You think it all you want.
No.
Okay, we have the 2 names that have been put into nomination. It appears as though that one of the individuals has decided to withdraw his name from nomination. Therefore, we are left with a situation where we've got 1 name that is in nomination. And I guess with that, we have, is there a motion to accept that nominee? Mr. Speciale.
And I second that, Carl Michigan.
It's been seconded to accept the nomination. Yes, Julie.
I believe that with Chuck's withdrawal, now you should open and see if there is anyone else wants to be nominated from the floor. Because I think when, that may have a bearing on it. It doesn't either way with me, but I'm just saying open it from the floor
I would
again.
respectfully say that if that's the will, then I think somebody needs to go ahead and offer that as a motion at this point. And if that's the point of discussion, then that's fine. And I think that the motion to accept the nomination of Mr. James Knack by acclamation would need to be
I so moved from Hal James.
Okay, well, so then I guess that is there a desire by whoever it was that moved that the acceptance of Hal James by acclamation be withdrawn?
No.
No.
Okay. Everybody that wanted to get in, got in. We need to go ahead.
We're in somewhat of a unique position here.
Okay, I have a motion, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I have a motion to accept by acclamation. All we have to do is vote on it. If the people here choose not to do so,
Right.
then they have an opportunity.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, all those in favor of accepting the nomination of Hal James and having him become chairman by acclamation, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Okay, so just so that we're clear here, if We do not, if we accept a motion by acclamation, Alex will become chair. If we do not, we would then entertain the possibility of new nominees being brought forward from the body. We're all clear here. The chair did not have an opinion as to who won that vote. The ayes are nays. Is there a request for a division? Then we wish we would move for a paper ballot. Is there a request for a division?
Yes, there is.
Division, yes.
Okay.
Seal Wasserman, West.
Very good. All right, we will move on then to a paper ballot deal. Again, the question is, if you are in favor of the motion to accept the nomination by acclamation, the answer would be yes. If you are opposed to it, that would then open things up, presumably for a motion to be made to expand, to open up nominations. The answer would be no. I'm going to go ahead and ask the tellers, Steve and Jeff. Yes, sir.
When a division should require a standing vote.
Under our rules, Mike, we have to go to a paper vote.
One vote, one
Don't drop them. Thanks, sir. Are you 30? Well, I'm gonna.
I know.
I need you to tell me who you want.
You gonna vote for everybody? Yes, you may do your job. When attending board meetings, and by writing those unbiased
Acclamation is
What's the second here?
And therefore, if there's one person that's in objection to that, that we would move on to a different form of vote. Even though that is the opinion of the chair, I will say that the noes did have the vote. And what was the?
It was 40-25.
Okay. So even if one wants to question the opinion of the chair, which is quite obviously possible, the final tally of it would be that the motion would not prevail. So with that, what is the motion? Yes, sir.
I would like to nominate Paul Hill.
Yes, sir, in order to do that, there would have the nominations would have to be reopened.
Okay.
So is there a motion to open the nominations?
Make a motion to reopen the nominations?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that nominations for chairman be reopened.
At the same time that we order lunch.
Mr. Michigan, it is my hope that we're out of here by 10 minutes after 12. And with the patience of everybody here, that will be accomplished. Okay. Question is, will nominations be reopened? Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of reopening the nominations signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed?
No.
In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Nominations for chairman will be reopened. The chair will accept a nomination. Mr. Mishka?
Carl Mishka, West New Bern. I place in nomination the name of Seal Wasserman.
Yes, sir.
I put, again, I put the name Paul Hill in. I'm Bill Campbell from Fairfield Park.
Very good.
I second that. Ron Capshaw.
Okay, are there further nominations?
Does the original gentleman remain nominated?
Yes, absolutely. Mr. James's name remains in nomination.
And will the other two have 2 minutes?
Yes, absolutely. I would like to close the nominations, though, if that is appropriate. I move to close the nominations by Mr. Dodd and second by Mr. Speciale. Okay, given the fact that we've now closed the nominations, we are going to go with 2 minutes. Mr. James, I'm going to let it be up to you. Would you like to go first or last? Very good. Okay, with that said, Ms. Wasserman?
Where's my siren?
I think most of you know me. I moved to North Carolina in 1999, and about a year later, I was introduced to the Craven County Republican Women and became very involved in the party, both on the precinct level, on the county level, and the district level and state. I have been a member at large to state and to the district. I have served on the county board as your secretary. I am currently serving on our 3rd district board as second vice chair. I feel very strongly about Craven County. I think that we've done a fantastic job in our last election, and we need to keep it up. And that means we need to be one party. We don't need dissension, and I would appreciate your vote.
My name is Paul Hill. I'm currently president of the Republican Men's Club. I think an organization that we've turned into being the arms and legs for many of the activities that go on within the party here in Craven County. As indicated previously, we've had a very good election last time around. I think we contributed positively to that. We've been able to grow the club. Now we're well over 100 members. I think this is, we've also been able to provide an organizational structure that allows us to move forward. I think the county chairman's job is primarily one both of leadership but also of organization. I think I have both those sets of skills, and I would request your vote. Thank you.
Mr. James?
I've never said much about my experiences in my dealings with the county or with the associations that I belong to, like the North Carolina Taxpayers Association. Now, I want to take a couple of minutes to do that. I've been president of a number of organizations, started when I was very young, president of the Parent Teachers Association in the community I lived in. I was also the president of the Junior Chamber of Commerce in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and was selected by the county I lived in for the Distinguished Service Award given to one citizen of that county that year. That was Stafford County, Virginia. I'm a native-born North Carolinian. My dad told me that they taught reading and writing and rode to Richmond, North Carolina schools, and I ended up in Virginia, spent most of my life there. I joined the Virginia National Guard when I was 17 years old as a private. Served enlisted for 7 years, was selected for officers candidate school. Rose to the rank of full colonel, where I served for 5 years. I was promoted to the brigadier general in the Virginia National Guard. I've been the president of organizations, for instance, the largest privately owned company of its kind in the United States, which was a bus company, Colonial Transit, if you want to look it up. Had over 200 employees and 150 buses. I've served in a number of capacities of leadership. I didn't particularly want that made so public here in North Carolina when I moved here 5 years ago. Probably been a native-born North Carolinian. My family's roots go back in the 1700s here in North Carolina. So I feel like I've come home. I want to contribute where I can. That's all I want to do. If I'm elected to any office, I'll do my darndest to contribute and make it work. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to beg the chair's indulgence to allow the precincts to caucus for a few minutes to discuss the three nominations.
Outstanding. There's a motion on the floor that the caucuses, that each of the precincts caucus for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And it's been seconded. John seconded.
And I have a further recommendation, that just in the interest of fairness and also of expediency, that the precincts themselves and the chairs would tally the votes and report, and then you can know that we have the right number.
Okay. Standing. All right, all those in favor of this suggestion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, we will reconvene when that clock is at straight at 12 o'clock. The way this is going to work is that the credentials chairman, or excuse me, the secretary, is going to call the roll of each precinct, and the response from a representative of the precinct is going to be provided to the secretary. Okay? And the way that this is going to be determined is that if there's a candidate that has received 50%, above 50% of the vote on the first round, then that candidate will have become the victor. If there is no clear majority winner, the person with the least votes will drop out and we will go to a second ballot. Okay? So please go back to your precincts, calculate your votes. When your precinct is called, that representative from the precinct, who hopefully you've already identified, will then announce the precinct vote. Yeah, John, you have to list the precincts.
John, how you doing?
John? John Baldwin?
They want to list the precincts. Oh, I think it's
What do you think? All I can do is hope, man.
Because it's not allowed.
Okay, we have order? Okay, does everybody have their ballots with their precinct, their announcing persons of their precinct? Okay, excellent. What we're going, here's what we're going to do. We're going to call each precinct's name. I'm going to ask you to respond in the following order. Paul Hill, Seal Wasserman, and Hal James. In that order, because we're going to be taking these down as we go through. So.
Okay. George Street.
Yes, sir. Wait. Mr. John?
Just a point of information, is this going to be under a weighted vote where the...
No, it is not. No. The delegates that were present this morning when we did the calculation.
One man, one vote.
Providing they have not any left.
George Street has 2 votes.
Yes. One for Paul Hill, one for Hal James.
Fort Taunton has none. Grovefield, none. H.J. McDonald has 1 vote.
The one H.J. McDonald vote goes to Hal James.
All right.
West Newburgh.
West Newburgh has 4 blue and 3 yellow. Oh. West Newburgh has 1 vote for Paul Hill, 3 votes for Seal Wasserman, 3 votes for Hal James.
Trent Woods has 5 votes.
4 voters were present. We have 1 vote for Hal James, I'm sorry, 1 vote for Paul Hill, 3 votes for Hal James.
What was that again?
1 for Paul Hill, 3 for Hal James.
Thank you.
Riverbend has 5 votes.
Riverbend, 1 vote for Hill, 4 votes for Watson.
Vansboro has 2 votes.
2, Hal James. Okay, hold on one second. What precinct? Vansboro.
Vansboro.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, 1A has 12 votes. Joe Corbin?
1A, 4 for Hill, 8 for James.
Wait, you gotta speak slow and clearer.
4 for Hill, 8 for James, and 0 for Washington.
Okay. Croatan, 3 votes.
2 for Hal James.
And what about the other? You have no vote.
I didn't register.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know.
East Havelock has 2 votes.
2 votes for Mr. Hill.
Harlow has 3 votes.
Nobody's here.
3 votes for Paul Hill.
How many?
3. Fairfield Harbor has 12 votes.
12 votes for Paul Hill.
Rice's Creek has 3 votes.
1 for Hill, 2 for James.
West Havelock has 4 votes.
4 votes, Paul Hill.
Grantham 2B has 8 votes, actually. It should have been changed. There are 8 people there. Go ahead.
7, Paul Hill. 1, Glassman.
Anything else?
What's going to do with other votes? Well, it could have been 50%. 50%. I'm over.
Okay, the tally is 37 for Hill, 8 for Seal, and 21 for Hal James. 37 votes exceeds 50%, so Mr. Hill, you will be the new chairman.
Thank you for all the support. I'll need every bit of it.
Okay, moving on, we have 3 open positions that were not determined by the candidate selection committee. We have got an open precinct and a member at large for precinct chairs that is available. We have got a member at large for representative to the 1st congressional district and a member at large at the 2nd and the 3rd congressional district. So we've got those positions that remain open, and the chair will entertain nominations from the body in those specific positions. Let me just say, which one do you want to start with, Seal?
I'm going to start with 3rd District. I would like to nominate Lucy Dicktel.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for that?
I second that.
Who seconded?
Mary Delaney.
Okay, anybody else for the 3rd District? Okay, hearing none, are nominations closed for the 3rd District MAL position? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. How about the MAL for the 1st Congressional District? Yes, ma'am.
Seal Wasserman, West New Bern. I would like to nominate Sammy Dodd.
Sammy, do you accept?
I said,
That was inappropriate, I'm sorry.
Gifts and given, Scott.
Any other nominations? Yes, ma'am.
Point of order.
Yes.
Does the nomination have to come from a precinct within the
That is a
district?
great point. That is a great point.
I'll make that motion. Sabrina Bagel, George Street.
Sabrina suggests Sammy Dodd. All those, any further nominations? Okay, any further nominations? Hearing none. All those in favor of Sammy Dodd signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Thank you very much. Congratulations. Okay, the last thing is the MAL for precinct person. Steve, you want the job?
No, sir.
Okay, now I've got to say that this is perhaps the most critical position of all these positions that are open. And I would ask somebody that is willing to step up and be responsible to take this on. But it is an absolutely important deal.
I'd like to nominate Mr. John Jerson.
If, I would like Steve to just describe what it is that this person does, and then I'll comment on
The
that.
job is try to find people that want to actually do something. We've got the Republican Party has plenty that like to talk, but not that many when it gets down to it that want to get on the ground and walk during the times of need. But, I mean, that's the simplification side of it, but the real side is that you should try to recruit precinct chairman and get them to do some work, particularly during the election cycle. It takes time. I mean, if you've got time, that's good. You're young, we need to put you to work doing something else. It will take some time to do something.
Yes. Tom Martin? Okay.
Basically, what we're looking
John, I guess your name's been put in. Do you want?
No, I guess I want to withdraw my name.
Okay.
I've just become the precinct chair, and that's.
Thank you for seeing the light.
Thank you.
Mr. Martin. And then Joe. No, he's not. Okay, and then Mr. Corby, I think, has got an idea here too.
Okay, go ahead. Let him go.
Joe Corby. Nominate Hal James.
Mr. James' name is supposed to put nomination.
Mary Delaney,
Yes.
the 1A. I second that.
Okay.
I
All right, is there any further nominations for precinct MAL? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Hal James, thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Taking care of that. The new element under new business that we had not yet taken care of is candidate speeches. Candidate speeches. Who do we have representing candidates here today? 1, 2. Okay, 2 minutes each. Sir, come on up.
Candidate for what?
Find out. No desire for surprise here tonight?
My name is Gennaro. I'm from George Street. I'm here to speak on behalf of my friend Glenn Bradley. He's running for vice chair of the state GOP. So these are his words, not mine. Thank you for the opportunity to reach out to you today. My name is Glenn Bradley. I've served as a U.S. Marine, a worship leader, a seminary student, county vice chairman, and North Carolina State House representative. I have been on a nearly lifelong mission to attain a government that obeys the Constitution. The Republican Party has lost its way, but North Carolina has begun to show the way to the Republicans all across America. Because of your efforts in 2012, North Carolina was the only swing state that Governor Romney ultimately won. The way you grow a conservative Republican base is to inspire them. And to inspire Republicans, one must have the courage to take a stand. We seek Republican leadership that stands boldly and will not back down from what is right and wrong, even if those stands are at great cost to himself. We have seen the coalition that formed around such leadership when remarkably Stand with Rand began to trend as #1 worldwide. These are the coalitions that I have experience in forming. In 2010, not only did we do well, but we actually won 6 precincts in downtown Roanoke Rapids. These districts are approximately 90% African American, and I did that with a strong Republican message to make the government obey the Constitution, to put Washington, D.C. back in its constitutional box. The Republican Party must expand our outreach to young Republicans by strictly adhering to the Constitution. There is a great decision to be made today in the Republican Party. Will we become a party of bold and inspirational figures who fight for truth, justice, and the American principle of constitutionality? Or will we advocate for the status quo, hoping for the day that we may gain power back?
Can we wrap it up?
He goes on to say that he did a lot of stuff. I'm always impressed by his knowledge of and conservative principles. So,
What county is he from?
Anybody know what county he's from? Somewhere outside of Raleigh.
Franklin County.
Franklin County.
Outstanding. Sandy Dodd, 2 minutes.
Can you send me an email? Can you send me an email?
Good afternoon, my name is Sammy Dodd. I am from the H.O. McDonald Precinct. And I am running for City of New Bern Alderman, Ward 5. I'm looking forward to actually working with this board to look for some solutions and some things that we can do to cut spending within our city level. You know, when you look at the federal government, the debt, almost 17 trillion. You might as well say it. Everybody says 16 trillion, but it's going to get 17 trillion here soon anyway. But we got to realize that just because the debt is so high at the federal level, we got to reform local governments first. You cannot reform the federal government without reforming the local government. It all starts at the bottom level. I would love to have your vote and would appreciate the opportunity to work with this board to see what we can do to bring a little common sense to our government. And we got to realize also that not every dollar that comes from the federal government is sacred. One of the most common things you will hear is, oh, well, this didn't cost the taxpayers anything. Well, of course it did. It may not have been a direct tax to you, but still somebody maybe from Billings, Montana or wherever, you know, their money went into something that we have done. I want to cut especially the federal spending that we do get, basically cut out the stuff that we do not need and go back down to the essential functions of what a city government would be. Your police, your fire, and other essential services of the city. But anyways, sorry for running over there. And by the way, I'm no relation to Christopher Dodd, by the way. But election day is October 8th, and the filing is actually July the 8th, and I will be filing officially to run, and I would appreciate your vote and consideration. And if you want to learn more about me, visit my website, doddforalderman.com, and You want to volunteer to help out, get up.
Sammy,
get in
thank
contact
you
with
so
me.
much. Greatly
Thank
appreciate
you.
We are at that time, that very special time where we get to accept the election of the delegates of the District 1 Convention, District 3, and on the GOP Convention. I will hope that everybody who's interested in attending those conventions has signed up. Everybody signed up? Okay.
They can sign up here.
Okay, yes ma'am. Please come forward. Special.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the delegates of all the people who signed up before the last person was out there.
Outstanding motion.
I'll second it.
And moved and seconded that this body elect all those individuals that have signed up on the sheets up here by the last person out the door. Okay, announcements. I'm going to ask that everybody do this sign up in an orderly way. Yeah, forgive me. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Very good. Announcements. Ms. Bengal, do you have anything that you'd like to announce?
Well, I was going, Sabrina Bengal, George Street, I was going to ask everybody to read House Bill 150 and to call all of our representatives and others. It is detrimental to the city of New Bern. It does protect our historic districts, but it does not protect the overlay districts such as Ghent, the areas in between historic Riverside and historic downtown. And you need, I am here as a representative of local people, local municipalities. We must have jurisdiction to protect the value of our neighborhoods. I don't want the state dictating to this municipality how we can protect our historic neighborhoods. They may not be locally designated, but they have overlay, which means we get to review design. So somebody who's got a nice house doesn't have a cinder block house built next to them because there's no design or review. It devalues their property. I've been working on this very hard. I'm going to be working with a representative in Raleigh to write an amendment to it, hopefully in this next couple of days. But the city municipality does not support House Bill 150. The League of Municipalities does not support Bill 150. And so I ask that if you read it, if you have questions, I'll be glad to answer it and to let our representatives know that you do not support this. It's very
By all means.
House Bill 150, what it does is it takes away the, well, it doesn't take away anything. It's letting the municipalities know that they do not have the power over aesthetics when it comes to design on your home. If you're having a home built, they can't tell you where this window has to go. They can't tell you what color it has to be. It's called freedom. They've never had that authority, but a lot of them have misinterpreted. A lot of them have overextended what their responsibilities are, and so they have maneuvered and cajoled people under the guise of their authority to put the window here. The builders put it here, and I mean, it's something that they have never, the General Assembly has never given municipalities the power over aesthetics, except in historic districts. And this bill will not, and all it is it's letting them know you do not have the power to tell people what color their house has to be. You do not have the power to tell them where the bedroom has to go when you're designing your house. They never had that power, and this is making sure they understand that they don't have that power because they are having inspectors tell people what they can do. You sent us up there to ensure your liberties, and we're doing what you asked us to do. It does make exemptions for private contracts, HOAs or whatever. I mean, that's a private contract between you, so yeah, if you've got something in your neighborhood or whatever, and you all have a private contract, this is what you're going to do. That doesn't change that. That's always been legitimate, okay? And again, it doesn't affect the historic districts. But when we start talking about what, and I don't understand the phrase outlaying or layered overlay, okay? I'm checking into that. Alderman Bendel and I are talking to find out about it. I want to make sure that whether or not I support this bill, and I believe I did sign on to this bill as a co-sponsor.
Who is the sponsor?
To be honest, I don't remember.
It's Nelson Dollar and Raleigh, there's several of them, but I respectfully disagree.
But we are up there doing what you asked us to do, but again, I'm gonna make sure, I'm gonna check into that overlay, because I haven't heard that term, to see if they in fact have authority there, or if it's something they've been exerting.
Mr. Petrocelli, thank you so much. Sabrina Granville, thank you so much. Are there any other announcements before I go through the final couple of announcements? Hearing none, all those, okay. The North Carolina GOP State Convention, June 7th through the 9th at the Westin Hotel, Charlotte, North Carolina. District 1 Convention, if you signed up for District 1, April 27th, Edgecombe County Convention Center, Tarboro, North Carolina. District 3 Convention, April 3rd, Crystal Coast Civic Center, Morehead City.
3rd is a Wednesday.
April what? April 3rd?
April 20th.
April 20th.
April 20th is the 3rd district.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Wait a second, everybody. It's time for the chairman's closing remarks.
Wrap it up.
Number one, thank you so much for being such a wonderful group of folks. It was a wonderful opportunity to have this time with you. Everything I think went reasonably well. We've got to be better about getting our precincts organized and getting more people here for next year. I want to thank all the people on the executive committee that have done such hard work in bringing this together today. I particularly want to thank Chuck Tyson for all of his leadership over these last number of years. And with that said, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Scott.
I just want to say, I think we should give our presiding chairman a hand.
I just wanted to make an announcement to everybody. Put your badges in the suitcases you leave today. We'll use them over again.
Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second?
Yes, okay. Your first job.